Hey guys, Beast here, coming at you with a series that can only be made by people that can't get into Challenger, which will be our struggle into Masters, which is where we just take a look at a few games to see what we did right and wrong and how we can improve. Now in this first game, I thought I could just play Soraka because we already had kind of a front line with Singed. He's a very good engager, but in this lane it was actually pretty bad because they had a very oppressive matchup against us, with us having a Sivir and a Soraka, which is a very squishy lane, and also a very low damage lane as compared to Thresh and Xayah, because Xayah just has a huge amount of damage with her feathers. So I died in lane a couple times, but luckily this Akali was actually really good, and she kind of just beat the hell out of her laner, which was a bit surprising considering it was a J4, because I know J4 doesn't have a lot of bad matchups, but a lot of this game was just us getting dove and Singed diving top lane. And that really actually made us come out ahead more than them, because Sivir scales anyway, so even if you put her behind, she will still be useful in the later game, especially with her W and her crits. But also because Singed kept ganking for top lane, he got super fed off that. The team fights do start off pretty rough, and we did lose a lot of them, but stuff like this where they just tried to make a play on somebody else, like our Orianna or our Akali or Singed, I was basically able to just run in and help, and they would just keep sending guys in, trying to make it a worth trade. But after that, we do get the Baron a little while later, because they messed up and they got caught out in a 3v5. And after that, I didn't think this Thresh hook would land on me, but I guess it actually did, and I misplaced my silence here, which is definitely something I should work on, but I also am in my off role while playing Soraka. And yeah, after that my team just kind of starts scaling, and they finally scaled past all of them, and I did a little bit, but all in all, basically my team was just super fed, and we actually get 18 LP. And I think support role is just really largely based on how your team performs, but in our next game we play Olaf, and I was like super tilted this game for some reason. I think it was just the fact that I hadn't played in like a week. So I actually messed up on my mechanics really hard here, and I missed a kill on her. And since it was a Poppy lane, it was a very boring lane, so I just did that thing where I got super bored and dove the tower and traded 1-for-1, which against tanks really is never worth it, especially when you're playing a damage carry champion. You never want to trade 1-for-1. But our bot lane actually did really poorly, and again, I actually could have killed this Varus if I wouldn't have messed up on my mechanics, because you see he goes down to like 200 HP, so I could have killed him if I would have played it better, but because I just hadn't played in so long, I was just so rusty with my mechanics, and that's definitely something I need to work on, is just playing more consistently and not playing only once a week or twice a week. I really should try and get into the swing of things, but here I tried to 1v2 because I thought I could, but then because Janna had Ardent Sensor, I basically did no damage, and I think if I would have had an Executioner's Calling there, I might have been able to do something. But a little while later, we actually do get the Baron because we made some picks, and here this was just insane to me because Blitzcrank actually landed a hook on the Varus, but somehow he still didn't die for the longest time. But because we're just so tanky and they got caught out in a really bad fight, we do actually come back pretty well in this game. But I know I wasn't performing the best mechanically, but I was still trying to make calls so that we could get ahead and end the game quick, because I knew if we didn't end this game by a certain amount of time, then we were definitely going to lose, because they had not only a Victor, but a Varus as well, and we also had a Kalista, and Kalista is just really bad in the early game. But because we did just stick around for so long and we kept getting caught out, eventually they did just scale past us and were able to team fight. And this is just a problem that actually a lot of Diamond players have, is just not realizing that, you know, if you get an advantage, that you just need to end the game as soon as possible. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to take risks, but it does just mean that you actually have to, you know, use your brain and turn it on. But I think that was definitely a winnable game. A lot of it was just me performing very poorly. I think if I would have performed better in that game, we definitely would have won. But in our next game, we played Nautilus, and we actually got a gank for the first time in about 2 months, I believe, and we were able to get a kill on the GP, which was really good because that set me to the point where he couldn't really 1v1 me anymore. And then I did make a TP play bot and we got 2 kills, and I wanted to flash on the Sivir, but because I got slowed by Sejuani, I don't think I would have actually made it to her and killed her. And this guy actually went Assassin Kayn, which is a really bad idea. You never want to go Assassin Kayn just because you get so little healing. Because right there where he just died, if he would have been Red Kayn, he lives and kills them, no questions asked. But because he went Assassin Kayn, we lose the game, and we also lose 20 LP. And guys, if you ever play Kayn, never go Assassin Kayn, because you just become too useless in the later game, especially after 25 minutes basically, and in team fights you're just complete dog shit. You might as well be playing full damage Urgot in melee mode. But anyway, we got a kill on the Kled in the early game just because he thought he could out damage us, but it turns out that there was too many minions and we actually end up getting first blood on him. And then after that we trade kills in lane. But then a little while later there was a fight going on in the top lane because Katarina was super fed and she wanted to try and kill me because I was the only one on my team that was doing remotely well. So she tried to come top and we did end up killing her, but here this was just like a shitty team fight because we were not only so far behind but in such a shitty position after Sejuani basically suicided. And here I would have actually lived and possibly gotten a kill or two, but then I got Morgana binded, and then my entire team voted to surrender, so I basically had no say in the matter because it was after 20 minutes, and then we lose the game and we lose 20 LP off of it. I don't think I necessarily deserved to lose this game because I did play lane really well, but I just couldn't do anything in team fights. But in our next game we play Olaf just because we're getting frustrated with playing tanks and not being useful in team fights after our team feeds, and this Maokai actually steps really far out of position and we actually get first blood on him, and he doesn't even use flash because he knew how bad he missteps. But then we make a TP in the bot lane because it was really boring in the top lane and he basically was just throwing E's the entire lane. But this game was actually pretty cool because I was actually against somebody who was formerly on a team that I used to play for. It was their mid laner who was playing Echo, and unfortunately he was one of the best players on our team. We do keep him down for a while, but because he was just kind of a superior player than all the other diamond players that we played against and that we were playing with in this game, he did end up coming back. Kha'Zix jumps in here and I almost die to him, but he kind of fucks up and just doesn't really have enough chase to get me, and then Gragas comes in and secures the kill. So we did get really far ahead in this game. And I try to 1v1 Maokai, but then I run out of ult, and Kha'Zix just did like a shit ton of damage to me. And I didn't realize that my team had actually kind of fed him pretty bad. But that is something I should be paying attention to, is who's fed. And I should also be thinking when I'm playing a more aggressive champion like Olaf, I should always be constantly thinking about where the jungler is and where everybody else is, because if I would have been paying attention, I probably would have known he was in the top side and that Maokai was trying to bait me. But a little later we have a team fight, and my team actually, they all pretty much die. And I escape with like a sliver of health because Ashe got the heal off on me and she was just barely in range and Echo couldn't make it to me in time. But you can see my team isn't really doing the greatest there. And then we were trying to steal the Baron, but then they secure it and my team just surrenders right there. And I think we still could have come back because Ashe does scale up quite well in the late game, but I guess my team just didn't really want to put in the effort. Now here I play Olaf again, and I'm actually against a Teemo with Ghost and Flash, so it was actually pretty annoying to get kills on him just because he would always have summoner spells up. But lucky for me, he actually wasn't running Insight, so he couldn't have him up that often, and certainly not as much as my ult or my Ghost. But I got pretty fed off of him in lane, and here I actually get a pick on the Sona, and Taric ults me at just the right time so that Kalista can't rend me, and also I get the damage from Rek'Sai ult blocked. And then I pick another kill up on Sona, and here I thought we were just going to pick off the Kalista, but I guess everybody wanted to go for the Rek'Sai first, which I think was kind of stupid. and we should have definitely either gone for Kalista just to finish her off and then focused on Rek'Sai, or Twisted Fate. But obviously, since it's solo queue, you can never have a team just prioritize one thing, because that's basically impossible. And here I go in because I thought I could get another kill on Sona, but then she flashes out. And I thought I would have more backup. I don't know why, that was just kind of my mistake, is just thinking that I not only had more teammates there than I did, but how many of their ults were on cooldown. And we have another team fight here in the jungle, and Rek'Sai actually used the tunnel that was in Dragon Pit like 3 times to escape and engage, and nobody would destroy it. But all in all, like, that team fight was just shit on our part, because everybody's bundled up for Kalista, so then she got a bunch of Ren damage off and made use of Ruinant's Hurricane pretty well. But then here they were taking the Baron, and this was basically a last-ditch effort to try and win the game on our part, because Kalista was just super fed, and our Twitch also wasn't doing the greatest, but that's not really his fault. It should definitely be Tarek's job to just stay back and peel for Twitch, otherwise we have no damage, and that's basically what happened in this game. If Tarek was better and he peeled for Twitch, I think we definitely would have won this game. But that is it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to dislike, unsubscribe, and make terrible comments in the YouTube comment section. Until next video, guys, I will see you in my next video.